Ideally, you want 3 term sheets. So the thing I've always advised people and tried to do myself is 30 pitches makes 3 term sheets and 10 for luck.
What advice do you give to founders right now, who are looking to raise capital for their idea?
Yeah, I could definitely talk on this topic all day, Gareth, and it's fun and interesting as well as important. A couple of things to keep it concise, then we can dive in if you want to more.
Sure.
The first thing I always say to people is think about what sort of funding, nay, if you need funding, before getting preoccupied with it. And the reason I say that is it sounds cool, venture capital. It sounds cool. And so my experience of people I've chatted to over the years is a lot of people get super preoccupied about it, maybe more so than like what they're actually trying to do in their business. And venture capital is just fuel. It's fuel to do whatever your business is about. And not all business models need it. Some businesses might need a bit of initial investment. Some businesses might need funding quite a lot over time, like Matillion, the company I run. But the key thing you've got to think about is, does my business need funding or equity capital or something like that? Just one-off to get it started, or for a long time to fuel accelerated growth, or not? And then I guess as a byproduct of that, can it raise it as well? And that brings me to the second point. So Matillion, my company today, is a software company. And we have a couple of criteria that mean we're the sort of company that raising venture capital both is possible and makes sense. And these are the key things, really. So first of all, you need a large total addressable market. You need enough addressable market to be able to build a decent sized business from. Secondly, you need scalable unit economics, really. So you need to be able to scale it up reasonably briskly, and venture capital can then be used to fuel that accelerated growth.
Sure.
And then finally, for whatever reason, and in the early stage, there doesn't need to be a huge reason, you just need to be able to describe it well. You need to have half a chance of taking a significant sliver of that large total addressable market. And maybe that's because you know the space really well, or because you're uber talented, or because you've you've made a bit of a start. Maybe you've built a prototype, some customers have started trying it out, saying nice things, even paying for it. Those would all be signals that you had a chance of taking a sliver of this large addressable market. Why do you need those things? Well, from an investor's point of view, they're investing to make a return. They're making a bet. And if the horse hasn't got a chance of finishing the race, or if the prize money is really small, then what's the point of making the bet, right? So they're going to be thinking about that before they think about anything else. And many businesses won't pass that test. And that is absolutely fine. Not all businesses need or want venture capital, and so that's my advice, really. Go and read about venture capital, figure out what works. If you've got a large total addressable market, scalable unit economics, and half a chance of winning it, great, then you're a venture backable business. But if you haven't, you're one of the 99 types of other business out there, and that's okay. The other piece of practical advice I'd give to people is, in general in business, perhaps in life, one of my phrases that I like to live by, Gareth, is outcomes are correlated to effort, right? Harder you try, luckier you get. And that's definitely true with raising capital. You put the effort in and you'll get the return. I can talk to the practicalities of that if you want, but that's generally my rule.
I absolutely understand that it's a bit of a numbers game, but what are we talking? Well, what are we looking at here then, Matthew? How many pitches would you typically have to do to get a term sheet in your experience then?
So the rule of thumb I was taught and I live by, in an earlier stage round, 10 pitches to get 1 term sheet. Ideally, you want 3 term sheets. So the thing I've always advised people and tried to do myself is 30 pitches makes 3 term sheets and 10 for luck. So 30 to 40 pitches. And that, by the way, would be pitches to companies that are capable of writing a check into you. And so one thing that they seem not to teach at proto-entrepreneur school, they didn't teach it to me anyway, is to ask what sort of investor you're talking to as almost the very first question when you meet them. Investors invest in different types of companies, but also at different stages. But they will always want to hear your story. And so they might not mention to you that actually they only invest in companies at Series C and beyond, or $1 billion valuation or beyond, or their minimum check size is $100 million. So you want to be pitching 30 to 40 companies that are capable of writing a check into you. So if that was for seed funds, Series A funds. Now, if you can't find 30 or 40, I suppose you just do as many as you possibly can, but more's better, and do the ones whose money you want least first, because part of what you're doing is practicing, and it will help you refine your story.